Hey, this is Maginoni, and here is a review for Silent Voice, Volume 1. Now, this is a very different slice of life type manga. Basically, it's a story of some kids that they're not in high school, they're what they'd be considered like grade school. And the guy's name is Shoya, and then the girl's name is Shoko. Now, what's unusual about this case is Shoko is deaf, and Shoya is your typical, boy at the time, for that age where, he's mischievous, he's, out for adventure, he gets into trouble all the time. That part's normal. But where he crosses the line, though, is when Shoko goes to his school, she's deaf, and he immediately begins tormenting and teasing this young girl. And some of his friends find it funny, they kind of egg him on a little bit, but it's all him. He has to take full responsibility for this, because I think whether or not somebody laughed at him or not, he would have still done it. Now, eventually what happens, though, is he takes the teasing and tormenting too far, and she has these hearing aids, and he keeps taking them and destroying them. And eventually, the damage gets up to like $14,000, and her mom is pissed. And when they come in and say who's responsible for this, if nobody takes claim, they're gonna they're gonna bring the police in. Then Shoya gets in trouble, and from that moment on, he's basically ostracized. When he goes to his high school, he, basically people go like, "Who are you?" And word gets around that he was a bully, and then people just don't want to deal with him. He doesn't have friends. When he tries to talk to or try to get involved with people, they basically just give him the cold shoulder. And what's really sad about this is that as everybody was turning on Shoya, like they were writing on his desk, and they were writing stuff on the blackboard, and what's her name? Shoko was in class before school started, and she would basically clean his desk, clean the chalkboard so he wouldn't see it. But he just kept tormenting her over and over again. And at the end of this manga, basically, there's a time jump, and he meets her. And at the beginning, he meets her, and he's trying to tell her do something, but then it goes to the past, and then now it goes to where they see each other. And this is one of those types of mangas where you can tell that there's probably going to be a love story involved here, but man, I'm telling you, there is like absolutely no sympathy for him at all, because I guess you can say it's one thing to I can't even say that bullying part would be okay, but I can understand if two friends were constantly poking at each other, and they keep in mind it's both friends poking at each other, so nobody's really dominating the activity. But I mean, this is a deaf girl who can't defend herself, and what he did to her was just so rude, and you just don't feel any sympathy for him whatsoever, and you just kind of want the worst thing to happen to him. But since this is a manga, there's going to be a change, and he's going to there's going to be, the way he is now is he's not going to be like he is later on by the time this thing ends. So right now, I don't know if I'm going to keep getting it or not. I like it, but there's just so much other stuff, and it really is kind of a downer, just because you just don't want to deal with this guy at all, and you just want the worst to happen to him, because being a bully is one thing, and like I said, it's you kind of like you have your own private hell for that, but when you go after a deaf girl, that's just like, wow, you're really pathetic. And so even if they got together and he became a totally different person, it's one of those things where I don't know if I could accept it. So I don't know if I'm going to keep getting it, but it's an interesting manga, and I think it's there's definitely a message inside of it because the way he goes after her and the way she just basically takes the high road each time. It's kind of surprising, but it shows, I guess, the character of Shoka. But anyways, this is what a silent voice is like. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Like, share, and we'll have some more stuff later. So until next time.